in the mist-shrouded hollows of Widow's Peak, a decaying Appalachian town buried deep in the folds of West Virginia. The air grew heavy by nightfall. Locals didn't talk about the Granger estate, a rotting Victorian mansion perched above a silted creek, its shuttered windows watching the town like dead eyes. It was said to be cursed, a place of torment, haunted by the wronged spirit of a girl named Eliza Granger. But when 22-year-old Theo Bennett, a college junior from Philadelphia, arrived to visit his ailing grandmother, what he thought would be a quiet retreat turned into a descent into a ghost's vengeance. Theo stepped off the midnight Greyhound bus onto the cracked blacktop of Widow's Peak's depot. The fog lay thick as curdled milk, swirling around the cracked sidewalks and rusting street signs. The town was barely a breath. 5 churches, 4 bars, 2 gas stations, and no life after dark. As he made his way down the gravel path toward his grandmother's house, the wind carried the faint sound of a child laughing, distant and distorted, like it came from underwater. Granny Rose's cottage sat just below the overgrown hill leading to the Granger estate. The cottage leaned as though tired of standing, ivy strangling the porch. Amos, the caretaker, opened the door before Theo could knock. His face was rough-hewn, his beard thick with grey. "Didn't think you'd really come," he said, not unkindly. "You Rose's boy?" Theo nodded, hoisting his duffel. "She's still kicking?" "Barely," Amos muttered, "but she's been waiting on you." Inside, the air smelled of damp plaster and old quilts. Granny Rose lay swaddled in blankets, her eyes bright beneath paper-thin lids. "You came," she rasped, clutching his hand. "Be careful, Theo. Don't listen to the voices." Later that night, Amos sat across from Theo at the kitchen table, a single flickering bulb between them. He served venison stew and poured bourbon into chipped cups. "You know the Granger place?" he asked suddenly. Theo shook his head. "Don't go near it. The land's cursed. The girl, Eliza, they say she still walks it." Theo chuckled. "You mean the ghost story?" Amos didn't laugh. "My cousin answered her once. Heard her voice calling from the woods. Next day we found his insides strung through tree branches like Christmas lights." Theo's smile died. Amos leaned closer. "She's no ordinary ghost. She doesn't just haunt. She remembers. She waits." That night, Theo couldn't sleep. The wind moaned against the windows, and every creak of the old floor sounded like footsteps. At 3:17 a.m., a soft, familiar voice called from outside his window. "Theo, come here." He sat upright, his spine locking. It was his mother's voice, dead 10 years. He crept to the window and pulled the curtain aside. "Sorry for the interruption. If you're still watching, please hit that subscribe button below." So, let's continue the video. Below, in the yard, a young woman in a pale dress stood barefoot in the frost, her face pale, lips split in a smile far too wide. Her black hair floated unnaturally, as if caught in water. Around her neck, a noose-shaped bruise bloomed. Theo slammed the curtain shut, but her whisper slithered through the cracks. "Open the window, Theo. Let me in." Theo didn't sleep again. He told Amos the next morning. The caretaker's face paled. "She called you by name?" Theo nodded. "Then she's marked you. You need to leave." Granny Rose stirred restlessly in her bed that night, murmuring old prayers and clutching a faded Bible. "She comes for the bloodline," she whispered. "She came for your grandfather. Now you." Later, Amos told Theo the real history. In 1896, Caleb Granger, son of a local judge, fell in love, or lust, with a poor girl named Eliza. When she rejected him, he slaughtered her parents and tried to take her by force. She fought, escaped, and hung herself on the old sycamore by the creek, cursing Caleb's name. The Granger estate rotted after Caleb vanished, but the curse remained. Eliza's spirit lingered, feeding on the Granger line, and any blood tied to the town. "You're part Granger through your grandma," Amos said. "She was Caleb's niece. That's why Eliza wants you." The next night, things got worse. The windows blared condensation like sweat. A sickly green mist rolled under the door. Granny Rose screamed, and when Theo ran to her, he found her staring wide-eyed at the ceiling, where Eliza floated upside down, her mouth yawning wide enough to snap bone. Theo dragged his grandmother into the living room, heart hammering. "Eliza!" she croaked. "You've taken enough." Eliza hissed like steam escaping a coffin, her form flickering between girl and corpse. Theo turned to Amos. "What do we do?" "We end it. Burn the tree she died on. Bind her to the flames." They ran to the creek where the old sycamore loomed, skeletal branches writhing in the wind. The pond nearby churned with a bubbling stench. Theo approached with a can of kerosene, hands shaking. But the earth split. Decayed hands clawed at his ankles. Eliza rose from the mud, face split with rage, eyes burning like coal. "You will carry my pain," she screeched. Theo poured the kerosene. Amos lit the match. As the fire roared up the bark, Eliza lunged, slashing Theo's arm with a hand made of bone and rot. His blood sizzled on the tree. The fire howled unnaturally. Eliza shrieked, her scream ripping across the hollow. The pond boiled, her face cracked, bones splintering, and her form exploded into a cloud of ash. The wind blew it back into the burning tree. The sycamore split in two, fell, and with it, the mist vanished. By dawn, the Granger estate looked like a relic swallowed by time. Theo hugged his grandmother goodbye. She handed him a charm made of iron and bone. "Wear it," she said, "and never come back here." Theo returned to Philly. The scar on his arm remained, itching, when the air turned cold. Sometimes, deep at night, in alleyways and under bridges, he heard her voice. Theo. But he never answered, and he never would. Not again. Still watching, but not subscribed. A lot of effort goes into making these videos. When you subscribe and share, it keeps me motivated to create more. So please, make sure to subscribe.